I was sweating that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you were distracted earlier because there's a huge story that's on the front page of the New York Post today. This performance artist.
Well, I hate performance artists, by the way.
Oh, stop it.
Can't define what it is you do, shitheads.
Performance artist.
It's always tough when you start talking about art, because it's, I don't know, people want to try to define what art is, and then you get like Mayor Giuliani back in the day trying to tell everyone what is art and what's not art.
You're right.
So it's really tough when you go down this road. You want to try to leave the whole art thing alone.
Performance artists are people that want to be famous but have no talent. They want to be artists. They have no talent at all to do anything, so they are performance artists.
Like the guy who wrote soy on his chest and runs through the
soy
events.
bomb.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, man. You're really bucking the system, man.
Yeah. Man, I'm a performance artist, man.
I never try to define an individual's art.
I will.
Art.
Da Vinci was an artist. Michelangelo was an artist. Rockwell was an artist.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, but all right.
Exactly.
I mean, but this story is pissing off myself, everyone in the studio, and certainly a lot of New Yorkers out there. Basically, a Brooklyn artist evoked the images of people who leaped to their deaths from the World Trade Center by repeatedly jumping off a Chicago museum, outraging the families of some 9/11 victims. Some, probably all of them.
Of course.
Probably all of them. Curry, last name I can't pronounce, who wore a safety harness under his clothes, told the Daily News that Tuesday's stunt was his way of asking questions about what went through the minds of those who jumped from the towers and others who watched helplessly.
What a pompous asshole. And by the way, there's a brilliant article by Neil Steinberg in the Daily News, A Phony Artist and His Dopey Insulting Stunt, where he just deconstructs what a fraud this guy is. Not just because what he did is tasteless, but because it's not art. It's just a pompous asshole trying to look deep and involved, and he's really a self-involved boob.
Yeah.
Yeah, just garbage.
Was his way of asking questions about what went through the minds of those who jumped. Do we have to question what was in the minds of those people that jumped? Are you crazy?
I don't think you got to question it.
But that's not what he's doing anyway. If it was a legitimate question that would show insight into someone's mind, I would love to know what are you thinking.
Yeah.
But that's not what he was doing.
It's a guy that's hiding behind the art to get famous, like Anthony said.
And he knows he's going to get the shock value, but he has to have some deep artistic answer so you go, wow, man, this guy really cared, man. You're a fucking phony, dude. You're a fraud.
What kind of sick individual is he, asked Rosemarie of Midwood, Brooklyn, who lost her son. Tell him to go jump off the Empire State Building and see how it feels. He's an artist. Go paint a bowl of fruit or something.
That's a great quote.
That is a great quote.
Exactly, pompous idiot. You have a paintbrush and shut your mouth.
He jumped with a harness.
Of course he did.
Why don't you commit, buddy? Why don't
there
you
you
commit
go.
to your art?
This guy in this article says something about how fraudulent that is. That's like saying that it's like putting on like a hospital gurney or something and then thinking that you've tapped into what it's like to be really sick.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't gonna happen.
It's not. If a guy did an artist rendition of somebody jumping, if he painted it or something, that's one thing. But you're lying about what your motives are. Mm-hmm. You're looking for attention. Performance artists are the absolute worst. They're in comedy. They're all over. They run around. They try to say like really shocking anti-government things. And you're supposed to go, whoa, this guy really doesn't march to the same beat as the rest of us.
Yeah. Stop.
You're a predictable dullard.
He hired a crew of photographers, captured him in midair, arms and legs flailing wildly. Some of the images will end up in gallery catalogs and museum walls.
And he's selling them.
Part of a series of pictures to be called Life Goes On.
He's selling them. He's not trying to investigate what he's doing. He's selling them for a lot of money.
He's doing something that's being sensationalist. And he's trying to make money off of it.
Is there any way to get this guy on the air today?
We should have been working on it at 6. I don't know. I'm trying to just hopefully they're...
Yeah, another guy who lost employees, his fellow employees, he says in this article, my friends jumped out of buildings and it wasn't an art form. It was a last resort. The mayor called this guy nauseatingly offensive.
Skarbacka said he was horrified when he saw the attacks on TV. He started taking pictures of himself falling from trees, roofs, and ladders, winning him art world praise. What art world praise is he getting for doing this?
I am so happy they are yanking funding for the National Endowment of the Arts. I am so fucking happy you pompous assholes can fund your own crap. I think that's what I'm not saying the NEA is funding this asshole. I'm an artist. I got to fund myself. I never got money to be a pompous jerk off and urinate into a jar and call it piss Christ. You guys suck.
I like the piss Christ.
Me too. It was tasty. Oh, you left with a little crucifix like a tequila worm when you're done.
Like a swizzle stick.
I enjoy looking at a painting every once in a while. I'm a fan of Pablo Picasso and his work, and sometimes I go to the museum and I see a nice little portrait of like George Washington done back in the day.
Yeah, there you go.
And you look at the painting and you see the date, very old stuff, and it's like, oh, look at that. But the art world in general,
I remember when it was still wet paint. Sign over wet paint.
I love art, man, if it's done well.
Retro.
I respect art and a great artist. But why should, again, National Endowment of the Arts, I mean, I'm not saying they're tied in, but it all ties in with the arrogance of most of these motherfuckers. Why should we fund your crap? No one funded me. I did it myself. Why?
There you go.
Why? Who was paying my rent while I was out? Well, not according to these pompous jizz buckets. But why? Oh, I hate them.
Here's a couple more quotes really fast. First of all, this guy did it 30 times, Anthony. 30 times while a crowd of hundreds watched. Why didn't one of those people have a fucking gun with a scope?
They probably didn't know what he was doing. They probably didn't understand what he was doing.
Because if he announced what he was doing before he did it, it would have been a different reaction from the people on the street.
He didn't do it in New York.
They would have started throwing. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Not only hiding behind his art, he doesn't even do it in the city that it happened in.
And showing pictures of himself falling, like here's one of him falling off a ladder, one of him falling off a building, which is obviously unrelated. Those are fine as an artist. I'm not saying it's not an interesting piece of a human action to take a photo of. My problem is the way this selfish, pompous asshole is trying to tie himself into 9/11.
Right, take pictures of yourself falling. Here he is. Right. I'm looking at a picture of him falling off a ladder.
Yeah.
That's it, and it is an interesting photo, I must say.
Absolutely.
I know exactly what happened here. The guy came up with a great concept as far as in the art world. You know, pictures of me falling off objects, like Ann said, off a ladder here, falling kind of off a porch, and another one here, and another one kind of throwing himself out of a open structure into the water. It looks like it's gonna be. So he probably had this. He's probably been doing this for a while and getting no attention whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
So he said, "Well, falling. Oh, people fell out."
Somebody probably told him, looked at one of the pictures and went, "Wow, that looks like you're falling from a building," and
Right.
He probably got the idea. Oh yeah, building. Wow.
Well, if I fall from a building and say I'm doing it for the 9/11 victims and stuff, well, now I'm going to get attention from my artwork. That's exactly what happened.
And make some money. That's
exactly what was going through his head, because no one was paying any attention to his photos of him falling. And now look, he did his job, because now we're all talking about it.
Yeah,
today.
but we're not talking about him the way you want to be talked about. We're talking about where you hope somebody just fucking gets their house burned down.
Did you read this quote, Anthony? I thought it was my responsibility to respond to 9/11, he said. This happened to be my response to that. My sheer inability to do anything about watching people fall. My lack of control over the situation.
You phony.
Yep.
God, most artists are phony. Most of you are fraudulent, self-involved phonies. You're so obsessed with your own point of view, and you think that it's just so deep to the rest of us, and we don't give a shit. You want to take responsibility for 9/11? We would talk. Comics were talking about it fucking a week after it happened, not 5 years. We didn't wait 5 years to all of a sudden try to get our shit noticed by mentioning it. Faggot.
God, wow. This is an interesting quote from Mindy of East Brunswick, New Jersey. As crazy as it is, we all have the right to do that, said Mindy, who lost her husband, Alan. I'm just not exactly sure what he's trying to get from that.
No one is saying that constitutionally he's not allowed, Mindy. No one is saying that his rights should be removed or he should be imprisoned. We're just saying he's an asshole.
All I'm saying is we should have the right to punch him square in the face when we see him walking down the streets of New York.
Because of the pompousness of it.
Right.
Because of the fraudulent bullshit. How about this? If he was just jumping, and if he said, "Look, man, I've always been fascinated by people that jump out windows and suicide. I don't know how you do it." that wouldn't bother me as much because you're not looking for attention by tying yourself into a specific event that really rocked the country.
And Jimmy, he's a coward because it says here he said he didn't mean to offend anyone in New York, where he moved last year. So he's been living in this city for about a year.
Oh, he wasn't even here.
Yeah, he's in Chicago.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
right.
Yeah.
Oh no, we said that already. That, if you why don't you really commit and do it in New York and see what kind of reaction you would have got instead of hiding in another city.
No, I mean,
doing
he
this.
wasn't here during the attacks.
Oh no!
Chicago.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Watch
no.
on TV, yeah.
Wasn't even here for the attacks.
No, he just moved here, but he decides to take this stunt to another city where he knew he'd be a lot safer.
Trying to tie himself into 9/11 just for attention. That's what makes me sick. That's what makes everybody sick. I mean, it's not just me. It's everybody who's hearing us.
So there you have
Well,
it.
his last name, give it out. I'll give you his name because this is not good. The type of press you want. Kerry Skarbacka, Skrbakka. Kerry Skarbacka. That is the name of this jizzbag.
And you go to skarbacka.com, and you got a contacts.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I guess you can get a hold of him some way. Look at his biography.
God, I hate performance
Studied
artists.
sculpture and painting. Yeah, and obviously he was too bad at that.
Of course he was.
He couldn't do anything with sculpture and painting, so he's got to do these photos.
Maybe Patrick Swayze could sit closely behind you while you make a pot, faggot.
Went to Japan for a couple of years, where he worked in a bar and formed the beginnings of an art career.
There you go.
Yeah, worked in a bar after he failed at painting and sculpting. Worked in a bar in Japan. Returned home. Left the States for South America to photograph. A year later, I returned to experience the demise of my mother from brain cancer.
Yeah, so why didn't you throw yourself in Jell-O and say you wanted to experience being a tumor, stupid? Put on a white hat and sit in a big tub of Jell-O. Or how about why don't you get a big tub of of oatmeal and sit in that
There you go.
and pretend you're a brainstem surrounded by frustration and crying relatives. Tee-hee-hee.
Yeah, do
Shithead.
that. Do something a little more personal. Huh?
That's what art is.
Lay there in a bed while someone hits you on the head with a ball-peen hammer and be in pain. And then say, well, I'm just somebody with brain cancer.
Or how about this, if you want to emulate that? Lay there with your mouth half open and then have your black friend come in and teabag you pretending he's an orderly and you want to scream and yell help, but you can't because you're laying there. You want to emulate a real sick person.
Your speech has been taken away by a tumor.
That's right.
There you go.
Stop trying to look deep and travel the world, you dope.
The phones have exploded. Sally in Illinois. What's up, Sally?
Hi. Well, he could have thrown himself into helping old people, too, when his mom was dying of cancer. My question was, I know what the people were thinking. They were thinking before they jumped whether they wanted to be burned to death or whether they wanted to be flattened.
Yeah.
And did he light a fire behind him so that he had the actual feeling of it?
No, you can't find legitimacy in this. Your argument's logical. He's a fraud.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And also, and what they say is, I mean, what psychologists have said about people that jumped, because I'm afraid of heights. I've stood in tall buildings and looked and went, my God, I'm 50 floors up. People jumped twice as high. Just the horror that washes over you. It's an instinct thing.
Just the horror of looking over. Yeah, the edge
You don't
of
make a
something.
conscious decision of what you're going to do and say, I'm doing it. There's no choice in the matter.
The heat
There's
is so
just-
intense.
Yeah.
It's an instinct thing to get away from it. That's what I've heard.
There's no logical thought that goes
Yeah,
into throwing yourself out a window.
You become like a trapped animal at that point.
Yeah.
I think your logic is just. I mean, that's what psychologists.
You're
say.
backing away from fire until there's nothing else under your feet, is what it is.
And I guess maybe you do make that one decision like, well, this is less painful than that. But some arrogant, just little scumbag jumping out of a fourth-story window while people photograph him, man.
Yeah.
You're
Boy,
not
that
an
really
artist.
puts you in the mindset of those people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No.
You're exactly what's wrong with artists. You're a pompous dummy who wants to get a little bit of attention and is trying to tie himself into something disingenuously. That's what you are, scumbag.
All right, Pat from New York has a problem with Norton.
Who cares?
Pat,
Yes, sir.
what's the problem?
Well, listen, this man has made money on making fun of people his entire career.
Yes.
I feel he's a hypocrite.
Why?
Is this you, Jim?
Yeah.
You're just you're making fun of this guy's artwork. He's
He's a shithead and he's a fraud. Here, let me cut you off before you. I know what you're going to say. If I've if I've capitalized by making money off these things, why shouldn't he? Because what I do is
No, it's not that. It's
whatever
really
it is.
not that.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
It's the fact that he should have the ability. I mean, art is all about invoking an emotion.
He
from
does have the ability.
whoever
He does have the ability, and he's doing it. And no one's going to take his art away from him. His art.
Yeah,
no one's going to take it away. We're just saying he's a phony.
He's a fraud.
He's a shithead.
He's hiding behind the fact that it's art. I don't believe it's art at this point. But like I said, to start the conversation, to start defining art, that's when you get yourself in trouble. But my opinion, he's really hiding behind his art, and he didn't even commit. He didn't do it in New York where it actually happened.
Right.
Yeah, so you guys are making fun of women drowning their children.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Why not? The
I don't
news
see
media.
the
Well, dude,
difference.
the
I
news
don't see
media
the difference.
capitalizes. Why shouldn't we? I'm not saying.
No, it's not about that.
I'm telling you that's why. That's why I feel
Anyone-
comfortable doing it. I'm telling you that's why. Don't tell me it's not about that.
Anyone, you especially, should see what he's
Yeah,
doing.
and
I
we
know
and,
what he's
and,
doing. It's fraudulent.
And we're then going on the air after we tool on tragedies and saying we're only doing this to really show people the horror that was behind drowning your children. Yeah, that's the reason we're doing it. That's always what we preach on this show, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't hide.
Jackass. We're not hiding. We're not hiding behind some kind of phony fucking logic behind what we do,
What do you
idiot.
know?
We're on the air here cracking jokes and being jackasses, and we're honest about it. What?
Do you know what his motivation was?
Yes.
What's his motivation?
Well, you're assuming it's money. How do you know it's money?
Because he's selling the
attention.
shit.
It's attention, dude. He couldn't get attention. I'm answering you.
He couldn't
he
get
couldn't
attention being
the right way.
he couldn't get attention being a legitimate artist, so he decided, well, this will get my name out there. People will be checking out my website and my other photographs, and I am selling this stuff. So now he's making money off.
Like,
it.
dude, let me ask you: do you really believe?
God bless him. I just hope he walks down the streets of New York and one of these NYPD guys recognizes him and punches him in the face nice and hard.
Dude, do you really believe that this pompous idiot jumping out of a fourth floor window and getting attention and getting photographed is a real getting into the minds of 9/11 victims? I mean, I'm asking you just man to man. Do you really buy that?
Yeah, because that's what he's hiding behind. We don't hide behind anything. We show you all the scars that huh?
Was that his audience? Just the victims?
No, dude. I'm asking you. Do you? What I'm saying to you is
You
this:
believe the logic?
do you believe what he's saying, that when he jumped out this fourth floor window and got photographed, saying he's trying to get into the minds of these victims? Do you buy that bullshit?
No.
You don't believe it?
That's all we're saying.
That's
No,
what we're saying.
I just,
That's all.
So
That's
you're
what we're saying
agreeing with
today.
us,
He may be showing people.
dude. You just
exactly
agreed with us.
What was happening?
What's your problem?
And evoking emotion.
Dude, you agreed with us. You agreed with us. And evoking an emotion, but to me, you have to do that through some kind of a talent with your art. Like me running around screaming the N-word at people. I mean, I'm being serious. That would evoke an emotion, but is that art? At least when I try to get an emotion out of people, dude, I try to do it through what I'm good at, which is being funny. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I have gallows humor,
Okay,
and that's what I do.
okay. All right, laughter is an emotion.
But my
this
motives-
guy is getting. Well, he's got you guys fed
No, my motives are honest about what I'm doing. This guy is not. If this guy was painting, or to me, doing something genuine about 9/11, that people had a problem with, like Rudy Giuliani was wrong to go after that person who's did something with the Virgin Mary, because I think the person was being genuine and Giuliani was wrong. I don't buy what this guy is doing. That's why I have a problem with it.
Listen, I would like to hear him say that he's donating his money.
No, I don't care what he does with his money. That's his business. He's a fraud
Doesn't
because
that
he's
make it legitimate then?
no,
All right, Pat.
no, Pat. You
Your
just
time is up. Thank you.
yeah, you said what you had to say, and then you agreed.